Hello class, my name is Daniel Ortega, and for my presentation I'll be showing you how to perform the bar squat. I've divided it into 4 steps, beginning with the setup, then the brace, then the descent phase, and finishing off with the lift phase. The setup. Before lifting, we want to make sure that there's an even amount of weight on both sides of the bar. Afterwards, we're going to position these safety hooks that are on almost all squat bars. You can see them on the right image here. You want to adjust those at about an armpit height to make sure that you don't go too low to lift the bar and that it's not too high for you to reach. Now, we want to position the bar center on the upper right of the back on the traps. As you can see on the images here, the bar lays on their traps, almost on their shoulders, and you also want to put your hands as close to your shoulders as possible on the bar, and this helps keep the bar centered on your back and also keeps it from swaying from one side or the other. Now, for the initial lift, you can see on the second part of this image here that the gentleman's hips are swayed a little back, and then on the third part, they're kind of like pushed forward, and this helps him lift the bar. Now, this is the better way to lift the bar using your hips rather than using your knees, because if you use your knees, it's gonna cause some early fatigue, and it's also gonna cause some joint pain, and we want to avoid that. Now, when you lift the bar, you're going to take one step back, beginning with your less dominant foot, and then you're going to take 2 smaller steps back to plant your feet evenly and set them at least a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, with your toes pointed out at about a 15 to 30-degree angle. Now, you're going to want your heels and your big toes to be pressing on the ground evenly to center your weight on the middle of your feet. Now, once you've done that, you're going to slightly extend your head facing forward and point your elbows slightly back, as leaving your elbows tucked under the bar can cause pain on the joints. As we can see on the image here, the gentleman is facing forward, head extended. The elbows are pointing backward towards the hips instead of tucked under the bar, because again, that's going to cause a bit of elbow pain. Now, beginning to descend, before you descend, you want to make sure you take a deep breath and you're going to hold it. To descend, you're going to drop your hips and knees simultaneously and push your knees forward as you go down and slightly outward, placing them over your toes. As when viewed from the side, the bar should travel in a straight line over the middle of your foot as you descend. As you can see in the image here, the bar, if you trace a line, it goes down to the center of his foot. You want to time the descent at about a second, as you don't want to tire yourself out too fast by dropping too slow. This does depend on the amount of reps that you want to do, but again, you probably don't want to hold on to the descent for more than a second. Now at the lowest point, right here, the second image, or I'm sorry, the second figure on this image, that's the lowest point. Now here, you want your hip crease to be parallel to your knees, and we can see that here. Now it is encouraged that your hips go a little bit below this point, but if you can reach this point, that's perfectly fine. And this position will begin the lifting phase. Now, your breath should have been held up to this point, and you're gonna start letting your breath go as you begin to exert force with your glutes and quads to ascend. The lifting phase should begin when you begin to exert that force, and at that point you can start releasing your breath. At whatever point you feel comfortable, I like to release about 2/3 of the way up, so about the middle part of this image, maybe even the second part right here. That's when I begin to release my breath. Now, ascending, you immediately reverse the motion back upward when you reach the lowest point. And by here, you have completely done a squat on the bar squat. Now, there's one further tip that I've included here, and that is for people who have flat feet and people who have an arch on their foot. It is encouraged for more flat-footed people to use shoes that are flat. This includes shoes like Converse, Chuck Taylors, Vans, etc. For people with arched feet, we can see on the right image here, the sole of the shoe is, a little bit angled, and that's because this gentleman has an arched foot. I personally like the Adidas EQTs. I have 2 pairs of them that I use to to squat, but you're encouraged to find some that you like.